Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is set for one episode. Your hosts from Columbus, Ohio and Westfield, Massachusetts are Michael Kirk and Nathan Wagner. Welcome to the Outlaw Mudcast. Hello and welcome to the Outlaw Mudcast, your digital audio dirt sheet for all things Super Show. Good afternoon, Nate.
Good afternoon, Mike, and good afternoon to all our listeners out there. Hope everybody's getting ready for GenCon, prepping up all those decks, doing your roll flip squats, and getting ready for all those wonderful events coming up.
That's right. This is the go-home show for the 2019 GenCon gaming convention happening August 1st through 4th in Indianapolis, Indiana. I will be going representing the Mudcast. Unfortunately, my broadcast partner, Nate, will not be able to go. But I will do my best to represent the podcast proudly.
You always do. You did a fantastic job at Origins, and I'm sure you will do the same at GenCon.
Hoping that we're going to try to bring home a foam belt. We'll see if that happens.
How about the foam? Bring home the gold.
I don't know if I'm going to get a shot at gold because the card is loaded.
7 events over 4 days plus
7
bunch
events
of side
over 4
events.
days. Yep. So just to give me a little quick rundown, I've got the schedule right here in front of me. Thursday, there's going to be the another Run the Gauntlet event starting at 11 a.m. For those of you who heard us talk about the Origins Gauntlet, basically you will face off against 3 competitors, 3 different people. If you can beat all 3, you get a shot. I believe at the it's still going to be against Calais. It's still going to be against the general manager. And if you can beat him, you win the event. The first person to beat Calais wins the event. So the event ends at that moment. So the event could run literally 20 minutes, or it could run, hours.
Dave Mirasak qualified to face the general manager at Origins. Did he end up beating him?
He did. He did beat the general manager.
Very nice.
Yeah, I believe that's how he got into the birdcage match that South Bell ultimately won to get a shot at the Underworld Championship,
which we'll get into soon.
Yeah, because actually on Thursday that's the next event. The next event's going to be the Underworld Championship match, which will be starting right before the Underworld Championship tournament. So,
and that match going on before the tournament is going to be either Kirk Poco or South Bell versus Andrew Trebing, right?
Yeah, so the way I understand that works, I'm going off memory from watching Talk to the Universe a few days ago. Essentially, Andrew Trebing will get the pick if he wants to face South Bell first or Kirk Poco first.
Well, she has to use her birdcage deck, right?
You have to use the competitor you won the championship match with. So okay. I believe she won with Smiley. She'll have to basically take her shot at the championship using Smiley. Now she can change the cards however she wants for the match.
Okay.
Basically before this starts, she can come into it with any deck she has, but it has to be that same competitor.
Now, I wonder if Trebing, say hypothetically, he faces South Bell first, and she beats him. Will she have to face Kirk Poco right after that?
Yes, she will have to face Kirk Poco right after.
And then the tournament will ensue.
And then the tournament will start, yes. And now, they're going to introduce, for this match, a wheel of stipulations. And at the beginning of basically before each one of these 2 championship matches, they will spin the wheel. And whatever stipulation they land on will be the stipulation they play for the championship.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Do they have the coal miner's glove on a pole match?
There's no coal miner's glove on a pole. There's no 4 corners match.
No false count anywhere.
There's no 5 minutes with the manager match.
Bra and panties, is that legal this time?
I do not. I'm still. I think that's going to be for Super Show After Dark. Although this is the Underworld Championship, it would fit more in this. Although I don't
Well,
know how. I don't know how the universe would react to South Bell in one of those kind of matches.
well, if Michael Bailey shows up to Gen Con, which he probably will, I'm not sure if he is, but if he goes, he should bring that and suggest that it ends up on the wheel.
I'm pretty sure the only thing is that it's going to end up on the wheel is official SRG stipulation.
Oh, boo.
There will be
Please.
no fans bring the weapons. There will be no what are the other stipulations?
Ladder match is a great match, which is not yet sanctioned in the SRG.
No ladder match. Just have tables and steel chain right now.
One would have to assume, though, that since now the steel chain is the most recent addition to the game, you would think that a ladder match would soon be coming up in the pipeline, you know?
It may be coming up soon. We may see that. There's
I
gonna be a lot of new stuff coming out this week. Some of which we talked about last week with the Faction Pack. There's some new cards they revealed that we're going to talk about, as well as some new competitors that have been spoiled. We'll talk about
so many new and
so many new ones.
I saw today actually. I've been kind of off the grid on Facebook recently. I saw today Reverend Thorn's strike finish. Is that the only card that he has spoiled?
That is the only card he is. I believe he's going to spoil one every day, so it'll probably be this basically one finish today, Monday, Tuesday, and I wouldn't imagine the competitor will come out with.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the order, but that makes the most sense.
Yep. All right.
Yes,
so what else?
He spoiled the artwork, and he even actually spoiled some alternate art card, but he has not spoiled the actual.
So what else do we
actual
have
card
on the
itself.
docket for Thursday after the tournament?
Yeah. Oh, and let me add this in before we keep going. The champion will have the advantage. Andrew Treving, the current LFF Underworld champion, will have the advantage of knowing what stipulations will be on the wheel. Because there might not be. We don't know what's going to be. We don't know if it's going to be every stipulation, only certain stipulations. We don't know if the wheel's going to be fair. If it's going to be like 30. It's going to be like 70% one stipulation, and like 5 stipulations take up the other 30% of the wheel. We don't know. We don't know anything about the wheel, but there's going to be a wheel. Pro tip: they should take the wheel out of a box because anything that comes out of a box gets over. But
I have a feeling it's going to be a digital wheel. There's websites where you can, spin a wheel, like put in whatever you want on the wheel, and then you click spin, and it'll spin.
this is a real game. This is a digital game. I want hashtag bring back the real wheel.
Real
and hashtag,
wheel.
And hashtag real bring back flying on the super. I guess they're calling it diving drop out of nowhere. Anyway, that's for other stipulations. So Thursday night will be the Underworld Championship tournament. Friday we're going to have the Friday mornings to see the Birdcage draft. Then we're going to have the Tag Team Championship match. Now, the Tag Team Championship is currently Impact. It was won by Loudmouth Leo Larynx and
You
the
said
Grump
Impact.
Davey
You mean
Thunder.
Inner Circle, right?
Sorry, Inner Circle. I apologize for that. I apologize.
Impact will probably walk away with at least one title. That's my prediction from Gen Con.
We could see. I just hope that because I didn't say Inner Circle when I should have, that I'm not. There's no lifetime ban. Don't ban me. All right, so yeah, Inner Circle. That Grump and Leo won, but the Inner Circle is invoking Freebird rules because the Grump will not be there. It's going to be, as far as we know, Loudmouth Leo Larynx and the general manager John Clace will be defending the LFF Tag Team Championship.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that if there was, say hypothetically, we won the titles against Big Money at the Grand Gathering, do you think if I wasn't going to Gen Con, you could Freebird rule it? Or do you think that that's only possible because it's owned by the Inner Circle?
It's hard to speculate, but I would not be. I guess they would say being part of the inner circle has its advantage, and this will be one of those.
That's fair enough.
Some people might say this is another example of New York bias. Some people,
Meaning like probably 90% of the community.
but that's for the community to decide. I'm just giving you the facts, not taking sides.
So the tag team championship match will be Inner Circle versus the Corys.
Yeah, Corey Squared, who won last year's tag team championship tournament at Origin. Sorry, at GenCon.
I believe they'll be playing as Snake Pit and Numero Uno.
Yeah, you have to play. I believe that is the team they won with. That's what they play here. It's a strong team. Numero is a great competitor.
Yes. We beat
got
that
two
team
people.
in the top 16 at the Grand Gathering. That was when we played against Ben Kosmowski and Matt Smith. Epic crowd meter 5 match. That match was nuts. We were all burying our hands to stop everybody else's moves. And, like the next turn that we would win, we would get like top deck something that we needed. That was a great game.
That was it. All right, so that brings us to Saturday. Saturday morning is the Tornado Tag World Championship. This is going to be the one player, two competitor cards, or one tag team competitor card event. Now it's not on the schedule, but the winner of that, well, let me take that back. There's supposed to be a match between April Lynn the Huntress. No, I'm sorry, Angel Lynn the Huntress.
Angel Lynn versus the Brain, right?
Versus the Brain. Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. I apologize. I am not getting names right, and I'm very apologetic. Hashtag new host.
Hashtag his dice is on fire, but his mouth is ice.
I gotta work on that, folks. My apologies. But I think I recall them saying the match will take place after the tournament. So they'll crown a GenCon Tornado Tag World Champion, and then there will be the actual LFF Tornado Tag World Championship match.
But the Brain is already the champion, though, right?
No, the Brain. No, the Brain has to face. Is this the Brain? Yeah,
I swear to God.
No. It's Grump is the trios champion. Grump is the trios champion. They did not crown a Tornado Tag World Champion for the LFF at Origins, but they did crown the trios. The winner of the Origins Trios tournament became the trios champion, and that's the Grump Danny Thunder.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it is Angel Lynn the Huntress versus Robert the Brain Dunn. All right, then after that, we're gonna have the LFF World Championship match, which is gonna be King Pink, Austin Poe, taking on Loudmouth Neo Larynx.
High Water versus
Amazing Red.
Yes, versus Amazing Red. And breaking news coming from the Brain himself, he is the actual LFF Tornado Tag Team Champion.
Really? Okay, I did not realize it. I thought they were grinding him at GenCon. But if you're saying that Robert Dunn is now personally to you confirming he is the current champion, then that's what we're going to report.
Yep, he just messaged me. I wanted to confirm. I'm pretty sure he won it with Witch's Apprentice and the Brain.
Well, see, I know he won the Origins Tornado Tag World Championship. I just didn't know if I thought they just gave him a match to go on to win, to face her to win the LFF. But you're saying they crowned him LFF right then and there. Okay, yes. That's fair. I had that wrong.
He's defending against Angel Lynn first, and then he just said he's going to have a second defense. And as far as I knew, the Trios champion wasn't actually crowned at Origins. It was to be crowned at GenCon. Like, I don't think the Grump is the real Trios champion.
Okay, maybe I have that.
Won the event.
maybe I have that backwards then. But I thought he was the actual trios. But I guess if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. This is why you're the guy. All right, but that's enough about me being wrong. Let's move on. World Championship. Some of you may wonder why Chester the Jester, who clearly won the grand battle, is not getting his shot at the championship before Leo, because clearly the grand battle took place before the Origin World Championship that Leo won. And from my understanding, Chester the Jester has deferred his championship match. He wants to have his match at his, in his hometown of Russellville, Kentucky. So he's deferring his opportunity at championship, and that is why Leo is taking the match. And then after that match is going to be the actual GenCon World Championship tournament to crown a GenCon World Champion. And then finally Sunday is going to be the Trios tournament. There's nothing on the schedule about a Trios Championship match after the fact.
And it is actually to crown the first ever Trios champion.
Okay, so
the Grump won the Trios at Origins, yes, which I believe means he would qualify for a Trios match somewhere down the line.
Okay. We'll see if that happens, but that is the Gen Con schedule. I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot of Super Show. I'll try to see some more things outside of that, but it's a lot of Super Show going on this
week. I mean, it's no more Super Show than we played at the Grand Gathering or at Origins, so.
Right, but to be fair, the Grand Gathering was all Super Show.
True.
I like this. There's a lot of stuff going to be going on. I'd like to at least take a peek at some. That's just me. I like to sample the wares of the convention. Because look, and by the way, for people listening, there's tons of stuff. This is the biggest gaming convention that I'm aware of around. So feel free if you're not playing an event or if you're done an event, check out everything else. See what else is going on. I know James DeMello's requested some people get him some decks for his Weiss game he likes to play. All right, but that's the Gen Con schedule. Let's talk about some of the cards that are coming out. So first, on Talk Universe, they spoiled 6 brand new cards that are coming out. Look like most of them are in the 19 through 21 slot, although there's a couple outside of that. I'll just go in number order. Start with number 11. It's a lead grapple slammed into the mat.
Johnny Super Show is getting excited.
Johnny Super Show is getting excited. Is Steve Slambros going to get a little excited with this one too?
I would assume so, yes.
I think so, yes. So slam into the mat, lead grapple, number 11. If you have fewer cards in your hand than your opponent, draw 1 card. Your maximum hand size is +1 for each lead you have in play.
Very nice addition to my amazing red deck.
I believe it does the same thing as Show of Force and Lucky Shot.
Yep.
All right, next card is going to be card number 15. It's a follow-up submission, Beg for Mercy. Skill requirement card must have an 8 or greater grapple to use it. If your technique is greater than your opponent's technique, stop any strike. Put 1 card from your discard pile on top of your deck. So it's 7 seals for submission.
Very nice. And it's what skill requirement?
Grapple. You must have your grapple must be 8 or greater.
Grapple requirement in the 15 slot. Interesting.
In the 15 slot. Otherwise, you can have in your deck, but the text is like have a high enough grapple. All right, next one. Then the next one's going to be a number 19 follow-up strike. Save the Bacon. This is also a skill requirement card. You need 8 in a strike, 8 or greater strike. Play it. If your opponent has another grapple in play, stop any grapple. Copy the text of a grapple your opponent has in play until the end of the turn.
Do you know how nasty that would be on Lemmy Adam? Like, I know I'm a blowhard for him, but like, think about it. You stop a grapple, so you copy the text of the grapple you stopped, and you copy another grapple in play. Like,
Yeah.
that's freaking. If they already had like, I don't know, like electric chair drop in play, and you just stopped their 360 lariat, or not 360 lariat, lariat takedown rather. You get so much stuff going on. It's awesome. I love that card.
Here's an interesting question I have about this card. Let's say they stop a grapple, and the other grapple in play is, say, Call to the Crowd. Can I stop this and then throw a finish on top of it?
Probably not. We'd have to ask the arbiter.
Because this says, because I can copy the text of another card. If I copy the text of Call to the Crowd, I may play another additional card this turn. Why couldn't I play a finish?
Yeah, I would assume you could. I mean, but then
I would
again,
assume so too.
you never know.
You never know. So, the last three cards that were spoiled on Top Gear Universe Wednesday are all number 21. They're all follow-up submissions. The first one we'll do is called Kissing Booth. Your opponent cannot draw cards except for winning turn rolls.
They finally put out the submission version of that. That's cool.
My favorite one about this, as somebody pointed out, was that because Booth has B-O-O-T in it, you can use it to trigger TJ Marconi's gimmick.
No, it's not the word boot. It's booth.
Right, but it doesn't say the word boot. It just says you have to have the word B-O-O-T in it.
That's not how grammar works or vernacular.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. You play Polycone, right?
Right.
Why can you go get Luthez press punches?
Because it has the word punches.
No, because his gimmick just says you have to have P-U-N-C-H in the name.
Yeah, but it's a punch. The word booth and boot are two different words.
Right, but the word punch and punches are two different words.
You're splitting hairs between punch and punches and two separate words, boot and booth.
But what I'm saying is the rule works for both of them.
This is how stupid things end up like getting ruled in this game. Like D3's gimmick works for both players in tag team.
Well, but it's the same way. It's like when Alton Black says if you have breaker, neck breaker is one word. It's not two separate words.
Right. It's a breaker.
Right. You just have to have you just have to have those letters in a row.
You cannot tell me that just because there's an H on the end of the word makes it a boot.
I'm telling you, that's the way it's going to be played. It's going to be ruled you could do that.
That's ignorant.
Well,
boot and booth are two different words. I don't care what anyone says. It's not a boot card.
Right, but you don't have to have the word boot. You just have to have those letters in a row with no spaces.
All right, let's move on from that because I'm clearly triggered now.
All right, don't be triggered. All right, the next one is a powerful hand buster. Again, these are all follow-up submissions. Your opponent's maximum hand size is -4.
Okay, so that's cool. It's another version of Electric Chair Drop, and it's got the word power in it, so they just gave Witch's Apprentice another card, which is nice.
Which which is the same principle as what we just talked about, but let's move on.
No, there's a power and powerful are the same thing. Boot and booth are two different words.
All right.
Power and powerful are the same. Do you put booths on your feet when you go to work?
How big are your feet? How big are the feet we're talking about
You know exactly what I'm talking about. You put your boots on. You don't put your boots on your feet.
Well, what if the person had? No, I'm not gonna do no risk. Sorry. What if? No, no. Let's just. All right, the last card is going on top of the universe of the 6 new cards coming out, and I think this is going to be the GenCon prize pack. I'm not 100% on that, but these are coming out. Also, Fox submission number 21: Swing and a Miss. If your opponent has it's a skill requirement card, 8 or greater submission. I don't know why I see this being in Bombada's deck, but he can run it because he's got a 10 submission. But it's a stop card. If your opponent has another strike in play, stop any strike. Copy the text of the strike your opponent has in play until the end of your turn. Just like Save the Bacon we talked about before.
Yeah, and there's also a number 21 that came out, right?
Yeah, we talked about that last week. I think that was the that doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah.
So in addition to new cards come out, these cards come out at Gen Con, we're also going to have a lot of competitors coming out at Gen Con, 4 of which have been totally spoiled. A couple of them partially spoiled. We want to start with let's start with the partially spoiled ones first. Okay.
Does that include Joey Janela?
There has been no confirmation that Joey Janela is coming out. Now we do know the boss went down to Miami last week. Was that perchance to finalize an agreement with Joey Janela? Is Joey Janela's card going to come out at Gen Con? It'd be a great place for it to debut.
I would speculate that it's probably going to happen.
It very well may. We will see. And there could be other people coming out that we aren't even on the radar.
Right, exactly. Like some of these people from the Kickstarter.
Absolutely. We could see some cards coming out from some of the creative competitors earlier in the year.
One of which from the one of which from a creative competitor event, which was one in Big Rapids, the event that we both attended, was Brock Smith, the GOAT.
All right, let's start with Brock. Since she's Brock, let's start with Brock Smith. Brock Smith's card, it's the GOAT, Brock Smith. I don't know what the GOAT is supposed to stand for.
It stands for greatest of all time.
But we're talking about Brock Smith.
Right, he's the self-proclaimed greatest of all time because he won. Well, he didn't.
But it doesn't say Spagoat.
Anywho, let's get the skill rundown.
All right. Okay, so Power 6, Technique 10, Agility 8, Strike 5, Submission 9, Grapple 7. At the start of the match, choose an opponent. When you and that opponent roll the same skill, you may bump.
I could dig it. I like that because there's a lot of times you roll the same skill and you'll lose, like, your 5 is an agility and their 5 is a 10. Now you just force them to bump.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's about on the same level as D2. Sometimes it'll be.
And why do you think
worse.
that is? Why do you think that inspiration probably came from? It probably came from Matt because Matt's a big D2 player.
You're probably right.
I mean, look at the finishers too. We'll get into it, but they kind of remind me of D2 finishers.
Yeah, so we'll start with them right now. Finish strike, number 28, Death by Brock Oli. +1 to power, +2 to strike. So it's going to make your bottom 2 7s. Makes your strike a 7, makes your power a 7. So you have 3 7s. If you and your opponent roll the same skill for your turn roll, this card cannot be stopped.
Yep.
So it's going to mean basically that it's going to be an instance where you roll the same skill roll and your skill roll is better. You're not going to be able to use your gimmick to make it unstoppable. Because your gimmick just means you bump, you roll again.
So the card says it can't be stopped, right?
Right.
But if you bump when you roll the same skill, how can you play it?
Well, you can't. That's what I mean.
So how does the card work? I don't understand.
So basically, like if he rolls his technique, which is a 10, and you roll your technique, which is less than 10, he wins. He can play that card and stop. If he rolls a submission, it's a 9. You roll your submission, it's not 10 or not 9. He wins a turn roll. He can play the cards and stop.
But it's a bump. There is no turn. You just roll again.
No. It's may bump. He always has the option of not bumping.
Oh, it's May. Okay.
It's May. Yeah, he doesn't have to bump. Yeah, it's a May bump. He doesn't have to. If he would win outright, he's not going to bump him.
Right. Now that makes more sense to me. I thought it was always for. I didn't know the word May was in there. Okay.
Yeah, the Mets May. Yeah, obviously that'd be awful if every time he rolled his 10, if he rolled his 10, he would bump like if you rolled your 5. That would stink. That'd be awful.
Now it all makes more sense. All right, so that's good.
That's good. So all right,
Finish grapple. What do we got there?
Brock Bottom. I do like the name. Death by Broccoli is a little comedy, but it's okay. Brock Bottom. I like the Brock Bottom. +1 to power, +1 to grapple, so it's going to make his 6, 7, and his 7 and 8. If you and your opponent roll the same skill for your turn roll, this card is also a lead.
I saw someone ask why that card would be good. What's the point of playing as a lead if someone can stop it with a lead stop? And I was like, because you can win in one turn. Legitimately win in one turn. That's why it's good.
Yeah, that's why Leo plays a certain combination with Night Terror. Because he can because Night Terror has one finish where it says if this other finish is in the discard, that finish is a lead. So you can just spam the finish over and over.
When a cold sweat's in the discard pile, you can play whatchamacallit?
That one.
Yeah, you use Atomic Clothesline to flip your deck, and then it puts your finished submission in the discard pile, and you can keep playing as a lead.
Right, so basically, end game, you can keep drawing this finished grapple, keep varying it and drawing it. And if for some reason you both roll the same skill, he doesn't have to have a follow up or a lead and play. He can immediately play it and force the finish.
Yeah, I totally like that.
It's anytime you can play a finish immediately without having anything in play, it's.
You know what I did notice about these finishes though? The bonuses aren't very strong, but the text on them is really good.
Yeah. Well, and they talk about how they try to do that. They try to balance bonuses.
Well, right, because look at the gimmick too. The gimmick itself is really good.
Oh yeah. The gimmick is probably as close to doing another D2 as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last finish is the submission, number 30. It's a spotlight finish. Gizmo's Revenge.
Just like the image on this card.
Yeah, it is a dog on the chest of a masked wrestler. A little dog. And then 2 gentlemen in SRG polos attending to the wrestler. It's we've never seen SRG ringside personnel before, like somebody pointed out, so it's nice to see.
Yeah, well, we also never saw a vehicle on a car until Matt Smith's competitor came out, so.
Well, so he did a vehicle, he did a dog. I wonder what's going to be on the third one. Oh, well, that's right, he raffled it off. Alright, so the submission, +2 to strike, +1 to grapple. It's going to make his strike a 7 and his grapple an 8. When this card is in your discard pile, and you roll the same skill as an opponent, you may shuffle it into your deck. So this will actually go ahead. This will trigger off one off his gimmick. He can bump and shuffle that back.
So overall, I think that's probably one of the best competitors that's come out in a while. I think that just the gimmick and all the text on his finishers is really good. I mean, the small bonuses that are there are good on the finishers because, as the crowd meter increases, they're only going to get better.
Very good. So we talked about him last week. Let's talk about some more of this. True American Guy, Gregory Patrick Scott, because all of his finishers were released this week too.
Yes, they were.
So
I really liked his gimmick too last week.
Yeah, let's do a quick go and just run down it again real quick. So, because I imagine nobody remembers this from our last episode. I don't remember it. Power 10, Technique 7, Agility 5, Strike 8, Submission 9, Grapple 5. When you bump, your opponent discards one random card from the hand. It's a nice gimmick.
It is.
Very nice. Strike Finish, number 28, ETB. Plus 2 to Agility, plus 1 to Strike. So it makes your Agility an 8 and Strike a 9. Your opponent randomly discards 2 cards from their hand.
So it's kind of keeping to the theme of his gimmick. So you can make a deck with him that's heavily into discarding cards from your opponent's hand.
Number 29 is a Finish Grapple. It's a Spotlight Finish. Straight and narrow. Plus 2 Technique, plus 3 to Grapple. So that makes his Technique a 9 and a Grapple an 8. When this card is in your discard pile, and the crowd meter is 1 or greater, choose an opponent. They do not draw when you bump.
Very, very good. Like, imagine that in tag team. That would be really good.
Oh yeah, that'd be really gross. Because he'll bump. Your opponent's not going to draw, and he has to discard.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gross. And the last one, the Motivators. Finish Submission. Plus 1 to Submission, plus 2 to Grapple. So it makes Submission a 10 and the Grapple 7. If you and another player bumped twice in a row on the previous turn rolls, this card cannot be stopped.
I like that. I think that going back to that grapple finish for a second, that's another one of those finishes that I would honestly just use Destiny's Call and put directly into the discard pile, a lot like Scarlet Grave's Scarlet Fever, which would blank the opponent's gimmick. But, those type of gimmicks or card effects just to me seem better suited in the discard pile. Unless, of course, you have it in your opening hand, you got a lot of momentum, and you go lead, follow, finish, and they kick out, and it ends up in there anyways. But
I could also see you basically play something. I forget what the crossbow equivalent is for the grapple, but the card lets you search your deck, play that, go get that card, and then play it the next turn. Because if it hits, great. If it doesn't hit, then you get to. If it hits and you win, great. If it goes in the discard, if it gets stopped and goes in the discard pile, well, now you can expect. And if it's crowd meter 0, it hits and they kick out. Well, boom! Now you can start using that because it triggers on crowd meter 1. So you play that's your first finish. They kick out. You start going, okay, choose you. Now you don't draw one bump anymore.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like if you get it in your hand or you draw it up and it's there, just play it and get it out. But I mean, just if you're waiting for a finisher and you're sitting with like a Destiny's Call in your hand, just use the Destiny's Call and throw it in your discard pile.
Yeah, that can be very good. So I believe we have 2 more complete competitors that come out. Let's here's one that I don't think was on.
Did we say his submission finish? Or did
you did his submission finish, and we went back. The submission finish was plus 2 to strike, plus 1 to grapple, and then basically if it's in the discard pile, and I'm sorry, I'm reading the goat. It's plus 1 to submission, plus 2 to grapple, and then if you and another player bump twice in a row on the previous turn rolls, this card cannot be stopped.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you have to roll 3 times and have 2 bumps before, and then if you then win, and then you can play in some stuff. So it's totally reasonable. Let's go to somebody else.
Seems like that's a little hard to do.
It is, but if it triggers, it's sweet. All right, so let's go to somebody that I don't think was on anybody's radar. It's better now. Duff Martin.
Yeah, that one came out of left field.
I'm sure I've met this guy, although I don't recall it. I'm sure I didn't know he was called, that the boss called him Duff Man. And that's where this name came from. But it's Duff Martin with the RTI in a different color. So, Power 7, Technique 6, Agility 10, Strike 8, Submission 5, Grapple 9. Once during your opponent's turn, if they have more cards in their hand than you, you may draw 1 card.
Isn't there another competitor who does something similar to that?
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head if there is.
I want to say it's an independent competitor.
I like it. I like the gimmick.
I do too.
Because
doesn't Trent do something like that?
He might. I just don't know. I don't really play Trent. He very well may. But I like the gimmick because you can do it at any point during your opponent's turn. They can as soon as, let's say you have the same number of hands, they win the turn roll, they draw, you can do it immediately.
It says once on your turn if you have fewer cards in your hand.
It says once during your opponent's turn.
I'm talking about Trent. Trent's gimmick says once on your turn if you have fewer cards in your hand than your opponent, you may draw one card.
Okay, so it is the exact opposite of Trent. Okay, good. All right, I did not know that. Okay. So yeah, it's the same gimmick as Trent.
Except opposite.
Same gimmick as Trent, except the difference of whose turn it triggered.
So it's a good gimmick because you can, if you have less cards than them, you could potentially draw that stop if you're expecting them to hit you with a finish.
Right.
Or you can draw that finish and hopefully hit them with it on the following turn.
Absolutely. So we'll start going through their finishers now. Finish strike, 6-pack attack. I do like the names of his finishers. It's +2 to technique, so it makes it 6 and 8. If you have fewer than 6 cards in your hand, draw 6 cards.
Yeah, I like the names on them also. They're very punny. And the effects are really good too.
Yeah. I mean, so if you have 5 cards in your hand, you can draw 6 cards.
Bust out that director of operations and then use the new 10, 11, and 12, the lucky shot. The other card we just talked about, excuse me, I forget the name of it. Could have a huge hand.
Yeah, one of the newer cards that came out. Slam into the mat. Does that. So, I like that card a lot. The finish grapple is called Keg Stand. If the crowd meter is 2 or greater, this card is also a follow-up. If stopped, search your deck for 1 card, add it to your hand, then shuffle. So this is a really nice card, too. And then the final card, number 30, the Twist Off. It's a Spotlight card. +3 to submission, so it's going to make your submission 8. When this card is in your discard pile, your opponent cannot move finish cards from their discard pile to their hand.
That's really good too. You know, when you cripple your opponent's ability to like use those flying face busters or running face kicks or any, you know, sometimes they'll hit a finisher. That'll negate their finisher. They can put stuff from the discard pile to their hand as well. That's really strong.
Absolutely. All right, so that's going to do it for Duff Martin. Now we have one more competitor to talk about. That is man himself, Scott Winterbauer.
The Fireball. Another fellow Lemmy Adam player.
Yep. Power 5, Technique 9, Agility 8, Strike 10, Submission 6, Grapple 7. When you have more stops in play than your opponent, your Power, Submission, and Grapple are +1 during your turn and turn roll.
That is really, really good.
That is really good. It's a variation of on Snake Pit's gimmick, but instead of cards in the hand, tops in play. So you want this is going to be a very defensive.
In my opinion, it's like a mix of Lily Mai and Snake Pit.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's also been known to play Lily Mai, so I can see where the stop part comes into play.
So it actually takes his bottom 3 stats, his 5, 6, and 7. And if his gimmick is active, he'd have a 6, 7, 8. So it's quite nice. So go through his finishes. Finish strike, Rebel Rebel. +3 to power, so it would make his power an 8 or 9 if his gimmick isn't triggered. Shuffle 3 stops from your discard pile into your deck. If this card is stopped, you lose the match via disqualification. And it's a picture.
It's all right. It's kind of risky.
It's kind of risky, but I mean it's the same way any disqualification identification stop is risky. It's the art is him about to hit somebody. It looks like Boyd Howdy in the face with a slingshot. All right, the next finish is the finish grapple Killer Queen. +2 to submission. Flip 2 cards. Add 2 stops from your discard pile to your hand. That's him. It looks like he's doing the pedigree.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me as a pedigree.
Yeah, and then the last one is Under Pressure. Finish submission. Your opponent buries 1 card in their hand. Their first breakout roll is -2. Their second breakout roll is -1.
This would be my go-to finisher in that deck. I would probably just try to spam that over and over.
Yeah, I can see that. Could also maybe run down Riverlock in this.
Why would you do that over that, though?
I don't know.
I feel like taking away from their first 2 breakout rolls is pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Especially when you have a bunch of stat bonuses going on.
Yeah, that is true. You're already getting +3 to your bottom. Let's see. If you played down Riverlock, it'd make your power a 9. It'd make your submission an 8, and your grapple will be an 8. So you'd have 3 8s, 2 9s, and a 10.
Without the gimmick active?
That's with the gimmick active.
Okay.
Yeah, without the gimmick active, it's going to be 2 7s, 2 8s, a 9, and a 10. But I think both are strong. And those are the 4 competitors we've had spoiled so far. We've also had 2 partial spoils. The first one I think we talked about earlier, the Reverend Robert Torn is going to be spoiling a Torn or Thorn.
I believe it's Thorn. Yeah, I think it's Reverend Robert Thorn.
All right. Well, he has one. He spoiled his first finish so far. It's called the Good Book 3 Kings Edition. +1 to power, +2 to strike. Your opponent's maximum hand size is 3. So we don't know how the bonuses are going to work, but they're pretty standard bonuses you see on a lot of finish cards. The maximum hand size is 3. It's nasty. What's even nastier is if you can play this card to submission match.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my god, yeah.
Because for those of you who don't know, in a submission match, your strike and your grapple finishes, they don't trigger finish rolls, but they stay in play. So whatever it's on them, you get to have. So if you had this card in play in a submission match, not only would you get those bonuses the whole time, your opponent's maximum hand size is 3.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what his gimmick's going to do, because that's a really strong start for spoiling some finish cards. That's awesome. Just like nasty.
Yeah. But speaking of gimmicks, our last newly spoiled item is from a former BCW champion, a former All-Ohio champion, a former All-Ohio tag team champion. I believe he's the current Rust Belt champion. James Booker himself has his competitor card is out there in the world. It is Booker Mania.
And it's by far and away my favorite. I would say it's a toss-up between this one and Brock Smith's competitor, because once we talk about this gimmick in a second here, you're going to understand why.
So Booker Mania, power 9, technique 8, agility 6, strike 10, submission 5, grapple 7. When your opponent increases their turn roll, increase your turn roll the same amount. If that increase came from a card, your roll is +1 additional.
Bada bing, bada boom. Imagine playing against King Hyena. King Hyena doesn't win.
It would be a tie?
No.
Why would it not be a tie?
Because King Hyena gets +1 whenever he adds to his turn roll. So
Right.
he plays Slam. King Hyena plays Slam in the Barricade, right? Good. +4. You get a
Right.
+5.
Why would you get a +5?
Because you get the same amount, and when it comes from a card, you
Oh,
get an
that's right.
additional
That's right. Yeah,
+1.
that's right. That's right. You're right. I apologize. You're right. Because I'm thinking it's only from the card he gets the plus. That's right. He would get the full +4, then he'd get another +5. You're right. You're right. That is gross.
I just don't see him losing turn rolls very often.
I don't see him losing turn rolls either.
And I mean, most people, I mean, at least, I don't know, I can't speak for most people, but for me, I build my decks around turn roll boost rather than drawing.
Yeah.
Because I like winning turn rolls, because when you win turn rolls, you sort of win the game. I mean, you win the turn roll and you draw a card anyways. So, just the more turn roll cards that are played against Booker, the less chance you have of winning.
Here's what I can see people doing, and we don't have as many cards like this out, but I can see them coming. Playing things like taunt from the top rope
In the Booker deck or against Booker?
against the Booker deck.
Yeah, that makes sense, because then
Because
you're not triggering his gimmick.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar, taunt from the top taunt from the top rope says your opponent's turn roll is -1 for each submission you have in play. It's essentially the same thing as side chinlock, but on the negative side, instead of boosting your turn roll, it decreases your opponent's turn.
I had a
Uh-huh.
talk with John Pulverino the other day about this card, and he was like, "Do you think I should play this in my Mortal Warrior deck, or do you think I should just play side chinlock?" I was like, "Well, the only reason you should play this is if you need to search for a rope card, because -1 or +1 is going to be the same thing."
Right. But I think in the case of Booker Mania,
Right, in the case if you're playing as Booker, yes. But generally speaking, if you're going to -4 from your opponent, it's no different than giving you a +4 advantage.
right. So then my argument's going to be, okay, well, if I know Booker Mania exists in the world, and -4 for my opponent's basically the same as +4 to me, why don't I just play taunt from the top rope instead of side chinlock?
I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. So I can see a lot more, because I think taunt from the top rope is the only card currently that does that. I don't think there's a a strike or grapple equivalent of that yet. But that's a card I can now see getting a lot more play because Booker Mania exists. But that's going to do it for new releases, for new cards.
It was a very big
the
week.
upscaling schedule. This is a very big week. There's a lot of things going on. This is going to be a jam-packed week. In addition to all the tournaments, the championship matches, we have the Three Kings versus the SRG Universe, King Greatness, King Cold, King Pink taking on the SRG boss, Sage the Wicked Witch, and the general manager, John Calais. If the Three Kings win, they will get their finishers and they will get a faction pack. If the SRG Universe team wins, then the boss will get a championship match against Austin Pogue. It'll be Amazing Red versus whoever the SRG boss happens to bring with it. I don't know if they've actually specified who the boss would use. If the boss would get to choose, if he'd have to use the competitor he uses in the match against the Three Kings, I don't know.
I think that would be fair.
I think it would too.
Because you would almost assume that means that's who he's going to qualify with, like, you know. And I would guess that he's going to probably have to play. They would probably, if it's an SRG trio, being Calais, Sam, and Steve, you would think that they would play their respective characters that are on the actual trio card.
I would think so too. The only way that gets a little weird, though, is that Calais' competitor does have that gimmick. How does that gimmick affect the match?
Oh, well, I would guess that it would, you would get to make it whatever kind of match he wants.
So I don't know if he'll play that or will he play Snake Pit deck. I know he's a big Snake. We'll just have to see. We'll find out in about 4 days. I'm not sure what day this is going to happen, but I would imagine it would happen pretty soon. It makes no sense for it to happen. Well, it could happen at any point. I don't know when the boss would. If the boss wants to face Austin Pogue for the championship, it would have to be before Saturday, because that's the only way he'd be guaranteed to face Austin Pogue. Because Austin Pogue could lose to Leo.
Well, it's not even just about facing Austin Pogue. He just gets a title shot.
Oh, I thought he was okay. I thought he was actually wanting to face Austin Pogue for the championship.
Well, maybe he does. I don't know. What I gathered from it was that he gets a title shot.
He might, because I just don't. I don't know why they would want if Leo wins. I don't know why he would want to basically face Leo to become champion. Really, really wants to be champion.
So what else do we have for news this week?
That's pretty much it. GenCon's coming out. All these new competitors are coming out. My competitor may be coming out. I do not know.
DJ Outlaw coming soon.
I have not released the name, but multiple people have, including my co-host, just now.
Spoiler alert, we're a dirt sheet.
Alright. Yep. DJ Outlaw is coming. No relation.
No relation
to me or the Mudcast.
Sure.
I promise I am not DJ Outlaw.
Michael Kirk by day, DJ Outlaw by night.
Look, who is DJ Outlaw? Just like who is Mr. America? I can't tell you. Don't know. But he's coming out. He's the competitor I created. If he is available, I am pretty sure I'm going to play him during the LFF World Champion. Sorry, the GenCon World Championship tournament, if I can. It's really going to depend. I can tell you, I've been told he went to the printers. He is being delivered straight from the printers to the convention. So
he will be there then, right?
Assuming everything goes right in shipping, assuming there's no problem with printing, assuming it doesn't get lost in the mail. There are many things that could go wrong now. I mean, a lot of people familiar with who is the competitor that had the finish? Is it the Red Pill that had the submission finish that had the multicolored lettering?
No, that was Phenomenal One.
That was Phenomenal One. That's right. It was out of us because it was out of the starter set. You could see something like that happen with my competitor. His printing could be all messed up. He won't come out. We really do not know. But I will try to play him. I'll try to play him in Worlds. I may even play him in Tag. We don't know.
What was I going to say? Oh, in actual wrestling news, if anyone out there is following the G1 in New Japan, Jon Moxley is now at 10 points, undefeated. He's 5-0. He just beat Tetsuya Naito.
He's 5-0.
4 more matches to go, which is nice too because Moxley is the United States champion in Japan, and Naito is the Intercontinental champion. So it was nice to see the United States champion get a win over the Intercontinental champion.
Yes, it is.
But anyways, so you want to give them the weekly rundown of play spots?
I will give the weekly rundown. We have a couple new ones too that I'm going to give out.
All right.
So we'll start with my own local one, Buckeye Championship Wrestling. We play Saturday nights at 6 p.m. at a place called the Guard Tower here in Columbus, Ohio. Obviously, this weekend is GenCon weekend, so a lot of these places that would play normally, they're not. I assume they're not going to be playing just because people won't be here. I know that, for example, my play group is already. They're taking the people that aren't going to GenCon are taking off. But most weeks, you will find us at the Guard Tower Saturday night 6. Next, I'll go up to Rust Belt Championship Wrestling. Russell plays at Recess Games in North Homestead, Ohio. They play Monday nights at 6 p.m. They should still be there coming up. So tomorrow and next week after GenCon, so check them out. LFF Tri-State. That is the home store of John Polverino, Chris Pagilla, although he's currently on assignment in upstate New York, the SRG boss, and many others. They play a store of Fire and Dice in Lynbrook, New York. They play Thursday and Friday nights around 7 p.m. It could be 7:30, but around that time. City of Champions Wrestling. They play in Hopewell, Pennsylvania, just outside Pittsburgh at Titan Game Shop. Sundays around noon. Again, they won't be there. I'm sure they aren't doing anything GenCon weekend, but who knows? Because I don't think Steve is going to GenCon. Stephen Hines, the general manager. True American Heroes. Frontline Games in Clarksville, Tennessee. They play Saturdays at 6 usually. Florida Cardboard Wrestling plays out of Kissimmee, Florida, at a place called House Rules Gaming. I don't have a date or time. Check with them on Facebook or reach out to the store, House Rules Gaming in Kissimmee. Same thing with Michigan Wrestling Alliance. They play at Fun for All Comics and Games in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I don't have a date or time, but reach out to them. Reach out to the store. Destiny Games is a shop in Westland, Massachusetts, and they have Westland, Michigan. I'm messing up every name today. I'd like to apologize to the Super Show community, to the Earth, to the universe, to everyone from my mistakes. I apologize. I'll try to be better going forward. Westland, Michigan, Destiny Games, Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. That may be one of the last games for GenCon. There's a couple other places that play Wednesday. I'll point them out too. Fanfare Comics has a group at that store, Fanfare Comics in Kalamazoo, Michigan. They play on the second and fourth Sunday of every month. Usually they're playing from around 12 to 2 p.m. Now out to the home of Eddie Fury, the Alien Invader, the Salty Sailor. Sin City Wrestling plays at Atomic Trading in Las Vegas, Nevada. They too are one of the last groups that have played for GenCon. They're playing Wednesday nights at 6. Wizards Card Championship Wrestling plays at Wizards Asylum Comics and Games in Norman, Oklahoma. Usually they're playing Sundays around noon. They don't play all the time. I check with the store to make sure if they're playing or not, but that's usually when you can find them. Revolutionary Championship Wrestling up there at Nate's home state of Massachusetts has 3 places where they play. They play at New England. That's right. They play at New England Comics in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Wednesdays and Saturdays. Wednesday they play from 3 to 6 p.m. Saturdays they play from 11 to around 4 that day. They play at Tabletop Games in Westport, Massachusetts, Tuesdays from 3:30 to 6. And in Fall River, Massachusetts, you can find them at the Game King. Usually Sundays around 5 to 9. That's a tentative day and time. But that's when they play. And here are the 2 new stores I have. East End Gaming, which is in Oakdale, New York. It's in Suffolk County. Island Life Wrestling.
Island Life is run by the Cheetah, right?
That's right, Ian Chambers. That's where Steve won his GM's favor on that TakeOver weekend. They are playing Wednesdays and Fridays. They don't have a time listed, so reach out to the store or Ian online and ask him what time to show up. But they're playing Wednesdays and Fridays. I'm assuming that's going to be 6 or 11. And the last one out of Glendale, Arizona, at Outpost Games, Outpost Wrestling. I don't have a day or time for them, but check with Outpost Games. They are.
That's you said Glendale.
Glendale. That is, I believe that is Eugene Kenny.
Yeah, I think I was thinking of where the Grump lives, but I think that's Scottsdale.
Yeah, the Grump lives in Scottsdale. Yeah. That is the list of playgroups I have. If you would like your playgroup to be added to the list of playgroups, if you would like to ask us a question, give us any feedback, you can reach out to either Nate or I through Facebook Messenger. You can also send us an email. We're outlawmudcast@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter. We are at Outlaw Mudcast on Twitter. Nate, that is all I have on this last show before GenCon.
I hope everybody has a great week, especially you, Mike. I hope you do well at the GenCon event and bring us some honor to the Mudcast like you always do. Everybody else, thank you everybody who reached out to help me make sure I was all right this week. Appreciate all of you. I will still be participating in the game. I'm going to be playing, like I said, in the online league just for singles. But yeah, I hope you all have a great week and eat good and roll better.
Yeah, thank you, Nate. I know you can't be there with us, but we will be thinking of you. I will. That is all for our show today. For Nathan Wagner, I'm Michael Kirk. Thank you. Good day. This is Michael Kirk. I hope you haven't turned off because I have a couple things I need to say that I left off. First, I need to make a correction. I said that James Booker's the current Rust Belt champion. That is incorrect. Corey Pitney's the current Rust Belt champion. Apologies to him and to just everybody else. I've been making a lot of mistakes today, and I'm very sorry about that. The second thing I wanted to bring up, something I forgot to mention, but it needs to be mentioned because it's important. There is currently, for the discussion group, a create a promo contest. This card can be, and so the way this contest works is you will create a card. It can be any card number 1 through 30, an entrance, a spectacle. Basically, you're going to create the card. You'll come up with the name, type, card number, effect, and even a description of the artwork that's going to be on the card. To the best of your ability, if you don't have all the details, that's fine. That can be worked out later. But submit your card idea to srgdiscussiongroup@gmail.com. SRG Discussion Group is all one word, no spaces, all lowercase, although I'm not sure if that matters, @gmail.com. Send that in by August 1st, 2019. So that needs to be in by Thursday. If you have a card idea, you want to submit it, please do so in the next 4 days. As I record this, it is the 28th. You have the 28th, 9th, 30th, 31st, 1st, and that's it. Next Friday, the contest submission period is over. So please, if you'd like to submit a card, send it in, srgdiscussiongroup@gmail.com. For Nathan Wagner, this is Michael Kirk. Thank you, and good day.